Do you ever find yourself just scrolling, flicking through your phone, not really looking for anything in particular, not trying to find a specific piece of information or connect with a certain person, but simply looking asterisk? You might be on social media, mindlessly observing the curated lives of others, or perhaps you've stumbled down a YouTube rabbit hole, watching videos that bear no resemblance to your initial intention. There's this peculiar sensation, isn't there? A strange, often uncomfortable mix of being utterly overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information, the constant stream of updates and notifications, yet simultaneously feeling profoundly bored by it all. You know there are 100 other things you should be doing: that pressing email, the looming deadline, the household chore that's been put off for days, yet here you are, suspended in this digital limbo, endlessly searching for some elusive flicker of engagement, a momentary escape from everything and from nothing all at once. It's an exhausting, yet strangely compelling state of being. If that resonant chord strikes you, if you nod along, recognizing this feeling deep in your bones, then you are most certainly not alone. It feels so distinctly modern, doesn't it? The product of our hyper-digital age, the endless barrage of content, the paradox of being more connected than ever, yet often feeling more isolated. But what if I told you that this profound sense of internal restlessness, this simultaneous ache of boredom and overwhelm, this insatiable craving for distraction, isn't a novel affliction unique to the 21st century? What if this fundamental human struggle, this deeply ingrained pattern of seeking constant diversion to avoid confronting ourselves, was not only perfectly understood, but meticulously articulated centuries ago? Long before the advent of smartphones, before the internet became an invisible web connecting every corner of the globe, even before the widespread use of electricity transformed daily life, a towering intellect of the 17th century perfectly diagnosed what he saw as humanity's most pervasive and debilitating disease. His name was Blaise Pascal, a brilliant French mathematician, physicist, inventor, writer, and philosopher. Pascal, with an almost uncanny foresight, observed our desperate, almost frantic pursuit of diversion, what he termed diversion, our ceaseless efforts to escape the quiet discomfort of our own minds. He saw how we would go to extraordinary lengths to avoid simply sitting still, to avoid confronting the vastness and the emptiness within. He perfectly captured the essence of that very digital scrolling habit we just discussed, noting that our constant search for novelty, our yearning to be anywhere but here, doing anything but nothing is not merely a bad habit, but a core, deeply rooted aspect of the human condition. He understood that without these distractions, we are left alone with our thoughts, with the often uncomfortable realities of existence, and that is a state many find unbearable. In the upcoming sections of this exploration, we're not just going to study an old philosopher, we're going to delve deeply into Pascal's astonishing, still vibrant insights. We'll explore how his timeless observations on human nature, on the profound discomfort of boredom, and on our universal search for meaning and purpose continue to echo with startling power and relevance in our hyper-connected, often profoundly disconnected, modern lives. Prepare to see your own daily habits, your own internal struggles, your own subconscious impulses, reflected with breathtaking clarity in the mind of a thinker from another age. It's more than just a journey into his historical thoughts. It's an intimate, revealing journey to understand ourselves better, to peel back the layers of contemporary life and uncover the ancient human truths that still drive us. Welcome back. After exploring the foundational questions that launch philosophical inquiry, we're now going to embark on a journey into the remarkable mind of Blaise Pascal. And trust me, Pascal's insights will resonate with astonishing clarity. When you hear the name Pascal, you might immediately picture a prodigious genius of the 17th century, and you'd be absolutely right. He was, by any measure, a polymath whose intellect seemed to know no bounds. Think of him as an early Silicon Valley pioneer for the Age of Enlightenment. At just 19, he invented the mechanical calculator, the Pascaline, to help his father with tax calculations. Beyond that, he made groundbreaking contributions to mathematics, particularly in projective geometry and probability theory, fields we still rely on today. His experiments with atmospheric pressure, conducted with his brother-in-law, definitively proved the existence of vacuums and helped establish the principles of hydraulics, profoundly shaping our understanding of the natural world. But for all his scientific brilliance and inventive spirit, it's Pascal the thinker asterisk, the human asterisk, the deeply introspective soul grappling with existence, that I'm most eager to introduce you to today. His most famous and enduring work, the one we'll be exploring together, isn't a neatly organized philosophical treatise or a meticulously structured scientific paper. It's called the Pensées asterisk, which in French simply means thoughts. And that's precisely what they are: a raw, fragmented, intensely personal, and incredibly honest collection of notes, aphorisms, and reflections. Pascal was in the process of compiling these musings for what he intended to be a grand, comprehensive, and intellectually rigorous defense of the Christian faith, a magnum opus he never finished. He died tragically young, leaving these brilliant insights unorganized and unedited. What we have left isn't a polished argument, but something far more compelling: a direct, unmediated window into a profound mind grappling with the biggest questions of human life, meaning, and our place in the universe. It's like discovering the private, unvarnished journal of a genius wrestling with their deepest convictions and doubts. My own personal encounter with Pascal wasn't through a dry academic textbook or as a distant historical figure placed on an unapproachable pedestal. No, I first read Pascal not as a philosopher to be studied, but as a fellow human being, a kindred spirit, trying desperately to make sense of the beautiful, bewildering, and often contradictory mess of life. His words, even in translation, felt incredibly fresh and immediate. They weren't abstract theories, they were observations born of profound personal experience, touching on the anxieties, the joys, and the inherent paradoxes of our existence. He articulated the human condition, our quest for meaning, our own fragility, and our unspoken longing for something more in a way that felt incredibly personal and profoundly relatable. He understood the human heart, its vulnerabilities and vast capacities better than almost anyone. So as we delve deeper into this section, we won't just be dissecting philosophical arguments from a bygone era. We'll be engaging with Pascal not merely as a historical giant, but as a relatable, brilliant, and deeply human companion on our own journey. We'll explore his most powerful and resonant ideas on what it truly means to live, to find meaning amidst uncertainty, and to navigate the complex landscape of the human heart and mind. Prepare to meet a truly remarkable individual whose timeless thoughts have an extraordinary power to illuminate your own path and challenge your perspectives. Welcome back to our journey through Bertrand Russell's The Problems of Philosophy. In this third part, we dive into a profound concept that, while not directly from Russell, deeply informs the philosophical landscape he navigates, the human paradox. We explore the ideas of Blaise Pascal, a 17th century French philosopher, mathematician, and physicist who grappled with the inherent contradictions of human existence. Pascal's core insight lies in human duality, our capacity for breathtaking greatness, intellect, and reason, existing simultaneously with our undeniable misery, frailty, and susceptibility to corruption. We are, in his view, a magnificent but fragile creature, capable of soaring thoughts and yet constantly tethered to our mortal, often petty condition. Think of it this way: Pascal famously described man as a thinking reed. Imagine a reed so slender and delicate, easily broken by the slightest wind, yet unlike all the other reeds in the field, this one knows it is a reed. It comprehends its own fragility, its own place in the vastness of the universe. The universe in its indifferent majesty can crush us, but we, the thinking reed, are superior to it in one crucial aspect: we are aware of our own condition, our impending mortality, our hopes and our fears. The universe doesn't know it's crushing us. We know we are being crushed. This self-awareness, this consciousness, elevates us beyond mere physical existence. Consider our modern world. On one hand, humanity creates wonders that defy imagination. We compose symphonies that stir the soul, paint masterpieces that capture the essence of life, and engineer artificial intelligences capable of performing tasks once thought exclusively human. We send probes to the far reaches of the solar system, unravel the mysteries of the genome, and connect billions across vast distances. This is our angelic side, our capacity for reason, creativity, and boundless aspiration. Yet, turn to the other side of the coin. The same brilliant minds that design quantum computers can descend into vitriolic arguments over trivial online disagreements. We succumb to anxieties about social media likes, engage in petty rivalries at work, or fall prey to vanity and self-deception. Our physical bodies are susceptible to illness, aging, and death, and our minds, despite their power, are often clouded by irrational fears, prejudices, and fleeting desires. This is our animal side, our misery, our corruption, our profound limitations. Pascal understood that acknowledging this fundamental contradiction, this tension between our potential for the divine and our inescapable connection to the dust, is not a weakness, but the very first step towards true wisdom. It's an honest appraisal of what it means to be human, free from grand illusions or cynical despair. It's about embracing the full spectrum of our being. As Pascal himself so eloquently put it, "What a chimera then is man! What a novelty! What a monster! What a chaos! What a contradiction! What a prodigy! Judge of all things, imbecile worm of the earth, depositary of truth, a sink of uncertainty and error, the glory and the scum of the universe." This stark, unvarnished view of humanity is not meant to be depressing, but rather liberating. It forces us to confront our nature, to understand that our quest for meaning and knowledge is played out on a stage defined by this very duality. Russell, in his own way, also grappled with the limits of human understanding and the human place in the universe, albeit through a different lens. Understanding Pascal's paradox helps us appreciate the depth of philosophical inquiry into our own nature. Welcome to Part 4, The Boredom Epidemic, the Need for Distraction. In this section, we take a fascinating detour from Russell to explore the profound insights of another philosophical giant, Blaise Pascal, whose observations, penned centuries ago, feel startlingly relevant to our modern lives, almost prophetic in their accuracy. Pascal, a 17th-century French mathematician, physicist, and philosopher, famously declared, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." Take a moment to truly absorb that statement. It's not merely a quaint observation about introversion versus extroversion. For Pascal, this inability isn't a minor personality quirk, it's a fundamental defect, a profound source of our collective malaise, an epidemic of avoidance that prevents genuine introspection and peace. He coined the term divertissement, often translated as diversion or distraction, to describe our relentless pursuit of anything that keeps us from confronting ourselves. For Pascal, this isn't simply about having fun or passing the time. It's a core, often unconscious human strategy to evade the discomforts of existence. It's the way we manage the unmanageable anxieties of being. Consider the ubiquitous landscape of modern life. When was the last time you truly sat quietly in a room alone, without a screen, a book, or even music? For most of us, that's an increasingly rare occurrence, almost anathema. The moment a lull appears, what do we instinctively reach for? Our phones, to scroll through curated feeds, to absorb an endless torrent of content. We queue up the next episode, and then the next, binge-watching entire seasons, immersing ourselves in fictional worlds to escape the plain reality of our own. We fill every waking hour with relentless busyness, emails, meetings, errands, social engagements, convinced that constant activity equates to meaning, to productivity, to worth, often at the expense of genuine reflection or connection. We run from silence as if it were a predator. For Pascal, these aren't just pastimes, they are potent anesthetics. These distractions serve as a crucial buffer, a shield against the profound existential dread that lurks beneath the surface of our consciousness. If we were to sit in silence, truly alone with our thoughts, what might we encounter? Perhaps the uncomfortable truths of our own mortality, the brevity of our lives, the vastness of the universe, the potential meaninglessness of it all, or simply the gnawing anxieties of our unresolved inner conflicts. Pascal argued that these realities are so terrifying, so overwhelming, that we will invent elaborate, intricate ways to avoid them at all costs. Our divertissements are precisely those ingenious inventions, a constant stream of sensory input and mental engagement designed to keep the deeper, more unsettling questions at bay. They are the mechanisms we employ to numb ourselves to our inherent fragility and finitude, offering a temporary, often fleeting, sense of escape. So I want to challenge you, the listener, right now. What are your go-to distractions? What do you instinctively turn to when silence threatens, when the opportunity for quiet reflection arises? Is it social media, endless news cycles, a particular hobby, a rigid schedule, or perhaps even constantly seeking out company? The answer to that question isn't just about your preferences. It might just reveal what you are most profoundly trying to avoid within yourself and the price you pay for that avoidance. Welcome back to our journey through Bertrand Russell's The Problems of Philosophy. While Russell often dissected philosophical arguments with cold, logical precision, today we turn our attention to a profoundly different kind of proposition: Pascal's wager. Often misunderstood as a simplistic proof for God's existence, Pascal's wager is, in fact, a deeply practical decision-making framework, a guide for navigating life when confronted with infinite stakes and finite time. It's less about proving God and more about choosing a path when absolute certainty is out of reach. So, what is this wager? Blaise Pascal, the 17th century mathematician, physicist, and philosopher, presented it as an ultimate bet, one we cannot avoid. Imagine two scenarios concerning the existence of God and two choices we can make to believe or not to believe. Consider the first path. You choose to believe in God. If God does exist, then, according to many theological traditions, you stand to gain eternal happiness and infinite reward. If God does not exist, what do you lose? Pascal argues you might forego some earthly pleasures, perhaps embrace a life of virtue, but ultimately your loss is finite, a mere speck in the grand scheme. Now consider the second path. You choose not to believe in God. If God does not exist, you gain a bit of freedom from religious constraints, perhaps some earthly enjoyment, but ultimately, your gain is finite. But here's the crucial part: if God does exist, and you chose not to believe, you risk eternal damnation or the loss of infinite happiness. The potential loss is infinite. Pascal's brilliance lies in framing this as a forced choice, where the potential infinite reward vastly outweighs any finite loss, and the potential infinite loss vastly outweighs any finite gain. It's an asymmetrical gamble. Logically, he suggests one must bet on the infinite. Now, a common and very valid criticism immediately arises: can one really force oneself to believe? Belief, many argue, isn't a switch you can simply flip. You can't just decide to believe in something you find unconvincing. And Russell himself would certainly have had strong objections to such a notion. Pascal anticipated this objection. He wasn't advocating for an instantaneous, unauthentic leap of faith. His wager isn't a cold, intellectual proof meant to instantly convince the skeptic. Instead, Pascal intended it as an argument for a course of action. He suggested that if you find the wager compelling, if you recognize the prudence of betting on the infinite, you should begin to act as if you believe. Attend church, immerse yourself in religious practices, pray, engage with the community of believers. Start behaving as if God exists, even if your heart and mind aren't fully convinced yet. Pascal believed that through this consistent engagement, through the practices and experiences, genuine belief might eventually follow. It's a journey, not a destination arrived at purely by intellectual decree. In essence, Pascal's wager isn't about logical certainty. It's about practical wisdom. It's about choosing direction for your life when faced with profound uncertainty about existence itself. It's about recognizing that inaction is itself a choice, and in this particular bet, a potentially catastrophic one. It asks us to consider not just what we know but what we do when the stakes are immeasurable and the answers are elusive. It's a profound personal invitation to embark on a path to open oneself to the possibility of infinite gain, simply because, pragmatically, it makes the most sense. In our journey through the rigorous landscape of philosophy, particularly as we've explored the world through Bertrand Russell's lens, we've often celebrated the sharp tools of logic and empirical reasoning. We've seen how intellect can dismantle fallacies, clarify concepts, and build robust arguments. But what if there are profound truths essential to the human experience, that inherently lie beyond the exclusive grasp of pure intellect? This brings us to a remarkable voice from history, a mind as incandescent in mathematics and science as it was profound in theology and philosophy, Blaise Pascal. Pascal, himself a master of deductive reasoning, a pioneer in probability theory, and the inventor of one of the first mechanical calculators, understood intimately the power and precision of logic. He wielded reason with unparalleled skill. Yet, it was this same brilliant Pascal who famously declared, "The heart has its reasons which reason does not know." A truly provocative statement, especially coming from someone who could dissect an argument or prove a theorem with such unparalleled clarity and rigor. What did Pascal mean by this? He recognized that while logic can build bridges, solve complex equations, and guide scientific discovery, it often falters when confronting the most significant, most defining aspects of our human lives. Consider something as fundamental as love. Can you construct a purely logical proof for why you love someone, or why a parent loves their child? Can you dissect the profound impact of a beautiful sunset or a moving piece of poetry with a syllogism? Can deep spiritual conviction or faith be solely arrived at through a series of cold, logical deductions? These profound experiences, love, beauty, moral imperatives, spiritual understanding, often emerge from a different realm of comprehension. They resonate within us on an intuitive, emotional, or spiritual level, shaping our reality and giving life meaning, long before, if ever, we can fully articulate them in purely rational terms. This isn't to diminish the indispensable power of reason, far from it. Rather, it's about acknowledging its inherent limits and understanding that its domain, while vast, is not all-encompassing. It's about finding a crucial dynamic balance between the head and the heart, especially when navigating life's biggest, most impactful decisions. Should you take that terrifying yet exhilarating leap of faith in a career change that speaks to your soul? Should you commit to a lifelong partnership, a decision brimming with unknown variables? Pure logic might weigh pros and cons, calculate risks, and offer probabilities. But more often than not, the decisive factor, the deep conviction that ultimately drives us forward, comes from an inner knowing, a profound feeling, a sense of alignment that transcends a mere checklist of rational arguments. Think about appreciating a magnificent piece of music or a masterwork of art. When you hear a soaring symphony or stand spellbound before a breathtaking painting, your initial, most profound experience isn't one of analytical deconstruction. You don't immediately catalog the specific brushstrokes, identify the harmonic progressions, or intellectualize the cultural context. No, you feel it. You are moved, inspired, perhaps even brought to tears. The truth and beauty of the art are apprehended intuitively, viscerally, long before your intellect begins its work of analyzing its structure, its history, or its symbolism. The reasons of the heart grasp that truth directly, immediately, in a way that precedes and often informs rational understanding. Pascal's profound insight reminds us that while the intellect brilliantly illuminates, the heart powerfully discerns. True wisdom, the kind that guides a rich and meaningful life, often arises from the harmonious, complementary interplay between these two powerful forces within us. It's an understanding that some of life's most profound truths are not merely discovered through intellectual pursuit, but are felt, experienced, and deeply known, guiding us through the complexities of existence with a comprehensive wisdom that logic alone, however brilliant, cannot fully provide. It's an embrace of a richer, more holistic understanding of truth, and the human condition. Welcome back to our journey through Bertrand Russell's The Problems of Philosophy. In this seventh part, we turn our attention from the grand questions of knowledge to a more subtle, yet profoundly influential force that shapes our very understanding of the world, the tyranny of habit. It's a concept explored with piercing insight by the 17th century French philosopher, mathematician, and physicist Blaise Pascal, whose observations resonate powerfully with Russell's own pursuit of truth unburdened by prejudice. Pascal famously declared, "Custom is our nature." Think about that for a moment. He wasn't just talking about individual quirks, like always starting your day with coffee or tying your left shoe first. He was delving into the deep-seated, often invisible ways in which our beliefs, our actions, and our very identities are forged, not by conscious deliberation, but by repetition and immersion. We are, at our core, creatures of habit. From the language we speak, to the social courtesies we extend, to the moral frameworks we instinctively accept, so much of what feels innate, what feels like us, is simply the accumulated sediment of custom. These habits become so ingrained, so much a part of our mental furniture, that we rarely stop to question their origins or their validity. They simply asterisk our asterisk. This ancient insight of Pascal's finds stark modern parallels in our interconnected world. Consider the phenomenon of the filter bubble or echo chamber online. Algorithms, designed to show us content we're likely to engage with, inadvertently create a custom-tailored reality. We are habitually exposed to perspectives that reinforce our existing views and habitually shielded from those that challenge them. Our digital environment becomes a self-perpetuating custom, shaping our beliefs about politics, science, and society without our active consent, often without our awareness. Beyond the digital realm, societal norms function similarly. The unspoken rules of etiquette, the expectations of career progression, the very definition of success or happiness within a given culture, these are powerful customs that dictate our choices, often presenting themselves as natural laws rather than mere conventions. We often conform, not because we've rationally chosen to, but because it's simply what's done, what's expected, what's normal asterisk. But Pascal, ever the pragmatist, didn't just diagnose the problem, he offered a surprising, almost paradoxical solution. If custom is so powerful, he reasoned, why not harness it for good? His famous thought experiment, Pascal's wager, implicitly suggests a method to attain belief or to cultivate a particular virtue. Don't wait for conviction to strike. Instead, act your way into it asterisk. Perform the rituals, kneel, attend the services, live as if you already believe. His audacious suggestion was that if you habitually engage in the actions associated with a belief, the belief itself, or at least the feeling of conviction, may eventually follow. It's a profound insight into human psychology, anticipating modern understandings of how behavior can precede and even generate changes in attitude and emotion. You don't necessarily have to feel brave to act bravely. By acting bravely, you might find courage cultivating itself within you. It's about consciously establishing new, beneficial habits of thought and action to shape your inner landscape. This brings us to a crucial, perhaps uncomfortable, question that resonates deeply with Russell's philosophical mission. Which of your core beliefs are truly your own, forged through critical inquiry and personal conviction, and which are simply habit? Which moral stances, political affiliations, or personal aspirations have you genuinely chosen, and which have you merely inherited? absorbed from your environment, or fallen into through unconscious repetition? It's a question that demands introspection, a willingness to scrutinize the very foundations of what we hold to be true. Unmasking the tyranny of habit is the first step towards genuine intellectual freedom, towards a philosophy that is truly your own. Welcome to Part 8, Lost Between Two Infinities. In this section, we delve into a profound existential contemplation, echoing the awe and terror felt by philosophers like Blaise Pascal when confronting humanity's place in the universe. Imagine for a moment the sheer scale of existence as understood by modern science. Picture the cosmos, a tapestry woven from billions upon billions of galaxies, each a swirling island of stars, gas, and dark matter. Our own Milky Way, a humble spiral, contains hundreds of billions of stars, and its light takes over 100,000 years to traverse. Beyond it, the observable universe stretches across an unimaginable 93 billion light-years, a realm of cosmic distances so vast that our minds struggle to grasp them. We are but a speck on a speck, orbiting a star that is itself unremarkable, within a galaxy that is one among trillions. This boundless expanse, constantly expanding, dwarfs our every conception of grandeur. Now, let us journey in the opposite direction, into the infinitely small. Descend past the limits of our vision, beyond the cellular, beyond the molecular, into the heart of the atom. Here, particles dance in a bewildering ballet governed by the counterintuitive laws of quantum mechanics. An atom, once thought to be the indivisible building block of matter, is mostly empty space. Its nucleus, a mere millionth of a billionth of its total size, houses protons and neutrons, themselves composed of even more fundamental quarks, bound by forces that defy our macroscopic intuition. Electrons, not orbiting in neat planetary paths, exist as probability waves, appearing and disappearing, entangled in a cosmic whisper that dictates the very fabric of reality. At this scale, solid matter is an illusion, a vibrant energy field. It is between these two terrifying and magnificent extremes, the boundless void of space and the equally profound void and complexity within matter, that we find ourselves. Humanity, a fragile conscious entity, is suspended in this cosmic drama. On one hand, our physical presence is utterly insignificant, a momentary flicker in an eternal cosmic ballet. The Earth, our home, is a pale blue dot in an ocean of darkness, and we, its inhabitants, are fleeting organisms on its surface. Yet, on the other hand, our existence is nothing short of miraculous. We possess the capacity to comprehend these infinities, to formulate theories about black holes and quantum fields, to gaze at the stars and peer into the very essence of matter. We are the universe contemplating itself, a fleeting moment of consciousness arising from the very particles that obey quantum law, situated on a planet within a galaxy amidst the cosmic sprawl. This perspective imbues our existence with a peculiar duality, simultaneously humbling us to an almost unbearable degree and elevating us to a point of profound wonder. This feeling of being suspended is precisely what Pascal grappled with. He felt the crushing weight of cosmic indifference and the unsettling strangeness of the fundamental building blocks of reality. It provokes not just humility, but a profound sense of awe and, yes, even terror. He famously articulated this dread, gazing into the unfathomable depths, proclaiming, "The eternal silence of these infinite spaces frightens me." It is a silence that speaks volumes, reminding us of our fragility, our ephemerality, and the astonishing privilege of our brief, conscious journey through these two infinities. We are truly lost and found, between them. Welcome back to our journey through the profound questions of existence. In this part, the unfillable void, we turn our attention to a concept that, while not directly from Bertrand Russell, perfectly encapsulates a pervasive human struggle that underpins much philosophical inquiry into our search for happiness. It comes from the brilliant mind of the 17th century French philosopher Blaise Pascal, who offers a powerful explanation for why we often find ourselves perpetually restless, perpetually unhappy, even amidst apparent abundance. Pascal argued that the root of our discontent lies in a fundamental mismatch. We, as human beings, possess an infinite longing, a profound yearning for ultimate fulfillment, yet we relentlessly seek to satisfy this longing with finite things. We are, in a sense, designed for something more, something boundless, something transcendent. This idea is often metaphorically described as the God-shaped hole in the human heart, an innate desire for the infinite, for ultimate truth, meaning, or connection that no earthly pursuit, however grand, can ever truly fill. Think about the things we instinctively reach for, the prizes we dedicate our lives to pursuing, believing they will bring lasting contentment. We chase after immense wealth, imagining that financial security will finally bring peace of mind, only to find that more money often brings more worries or simply raises the bar for what we consider enough. We invest ourselves entirely in romantic relationships, hoping another person can complete us, only to discover that even the deepest human bond, beautiful as it may be, cannot bear the weight of our infinite existential needs. We strive for professional success, for recognition, for power, convinced that achieving a certain status will finally validate us, only to find that the glow of achievement fades and a new target emerges. And then there's the relentless pursuit of pleasure, hedonism in all its forms, from gourmet meals and exotic travels to fleeting sensations and instant gratifications. Each experience, while momentarily delightful, soon dissipates, leaving behind not lasting satisfaction, but rather a craving for the next, more intense, more novel sensation. This is precisely why these finite things, despite their undeniable appeal and temporary satisfactions, always leave us feeling either empty, wanting more, or simply returning to the baseline of our restless yearning. They are like trying to quench an oceanic thirst with a thimble of water. They offer partial, fleeting relief, but never the deep, abiding replenishment we intrinsically seek. Doesn't this sound familiar in our modern world? We often call it the hedonic treadmill, that relentless, exhausting cycle where we constantly pursue the next big thing, the next upgrade, the next experience, believing it will finally deliver happiness, only to find that once we achieve it, our expectations simply adjust and we're back to striving for the next perceived solution. We buy a new gadget, feel a thrill, then quickly adapt and desire an even newer model. We go on an amazing vacation, come home, and immediately start planning the next one, trying to recapture that fleeting sense of escape and joy. This constant striving, this perpetual motion without arriving, is a direct manifestation of Pascal's insight. So, while Russell may dissect the logical problems of philosophy, Pascal reminds us of a fundamental human problem, our infinite nature clashing with our finite pursuits. Understanding this void, this profound longing, isn't about despair, but about recognizing the true scope of our aspirations and perhaps redirecting our search away from the finite and towards that which truly speaks to our infinite depths. It's a call to examine not just what we seek, but where we seek it, and whether those finite wells can ever truly slake an infinite thirst. If God is all-powerful, all-loving, and desires a relationship with humanity, why isn't his existence unmistakably clear? Why are we left to grapple with doubt, ambiguity, and the profound challenge of faith? This isn't just a modern question, it's a timeless dilemma deeply intertwined with the human condition and our quest for meaning. Bertrand Russell, as an empiricist, would find the lack of direct, undeniable evidence a significant barrier to belief, demanding a demonstrable presence that simply isn't there for many. He, like many others, would ask, why isn't faith easy, or at the very least obvious? But another profound thinker, Blaise Pascal, offers a compelling, if deeply theological, counter-argument. Pascal, a brilliant mathematician, physicist, and philosopher of the 17th century, understood the intellectual struggle, yet he arrived at a profoundly different conclusion. For Pascal, the very hiddenness of God isn't a refutation of his existence, but rather a deliberate and necessary aspect of his nature, perfectly aligned with humanity's fallen state. He argued that the world as we experience it, full of both beauty and suffering, clarity and confusion, precisely reflects our spiritual condition. According to Pascal, humanity is in a state of wretchedness without God, yet we retain a greatness with God. We are fallen beings, separated from our Creator, and this separation manifests as the ambiguity we perceive in the world. If God were in our face, his presence so overwhelming and undeniable that belief was compelled, where would genuine love and free will reside? Such an obvious God would negate the very essence of choice, turning faith into mere observation and devotion into coerced obedience. The hiddenness, therefore, is, for Pascal, a profound act of divine respect for our autonomy. It allows for genuine seeking, for a free turning of the heart towards the divine, rather than a forced acknowledgement of an inescapable truth. Pascal's God is not entirely absent. He is simply hidden in plain sight, or rather, within reach for those who genuinely seek him, but not in your face for those who prefer to avert their gaze. He reveals enough to those who earnestly desire to find him through conscience, through the order of the natural world, through spiritual experiences, and, for Pascal, supremely through Christian revelation, but not so much as to remove the necessity of faith, of an active choice. Think of it like a whisper in a crowded room. You can choose to strain your ear and listen, or you can allow the surrounding noise to drown it out. The evidence, for Pascal, is sufficient to condemn those who do not seek, but not so overwhelming as to compel those who do not wish to find. This delicate balance preserves human freedom and the merit of faith. This perspective, while deeply theological, offers a powerful lens through which to view both doubt and faith, fostering a surprising degree of empathy. For those who doubt, Pascal acknowledges the very real ambiguity and the lack of empirical certainty that can be a genuine intellectual struggle. Their experience of a hidden God is not dismissed, it's seen as part of the human condition, a consequence of our fallen state. And for those who believe, it validates their journey of seeking, their active choice to engage with the subtle signs and lean into faith despite the world's apparent indifference. It suggests that both the questioner and the believer are responding, in their own way, to a world that is intentionally designed to allow for both genuine spiritual freedom and the profound challenge of self-discovery. Pascal's God respects the human journey, allowing space for the messy, often uncertain, path towards truth. It's a vision that acknowledges the very real difficulties in belief, not as a flaw in God, but as a deliberate design to cultivate a relationship rooted in free will and genuine desire. While Russell would likely remain unconvinced by such a theological argument, finding it more a rationalization than an explanation, Pascal's profound insight reminds us that some of philosophy's greatest questions delve into realms where empirical evidence alone may not provide all the answers. It opens the door to considering that perhaps some truths are not meant to be simply observed, but actively sought. We've journeyed through the realms of knowledge, perception, and the very nature of reality as explored by Bertrand Russell. But philosophy, in its broadest sense, doesn't solely reside in the abstract. It frequently plunges into the complexities of human society, governance, and the often fraught dynamics that shape our world. While Russell himself offered profound insights into political philosophy, it's worth turning our attention, as he often did, to thinkers who laid crucial groundwork for understanding the practical problems of living together. One such figure, whose wisdom transcends theological debate and speaks directly to the political and social fabric of existence, is Blaise Pascal. Pascal, with his incisive observations of human nature, pierced through the veneer of societal order to expose its delicate foundations. He understood implicitly that the grand ideals we strive for are often vulnerable to the brute realities of power. His renowned aphorism encapsulates this tension perfectly: justice without force is powerless. Force without justice is tyrannical. Let's unpack this profound statement. Justice without force is powerless. This speaks to the inherent fragility of any moral or ethical framework that lacks the means to enforce its principles. What good is a just law if it can be flouted with impunity? What value do declarations of human rights hold if there are no mechanisms, no institutional power, to protect them when violated? Pascal recognized that lofty ideals, however noble, remain mere aspirations, easily trampled underfoot, if they cannot be backed by a credible, deterrent force. This isn't an endorsement of brutality, but a pragmatic acknowledgement that order, and indeed justice, often require a robust means of implementation and protection. Conversely, force without justice is tyrannical. Here, Pascal warns us of the profound danger when power is decoupled from ethical considerations. Unchecked force, raw power, is inherently arbitrary and oppressive. It leads to societies where the strong dictate to the weak, where rights are illusory, and where the rule of law is replaced by the caprice of those who wield authority. This is the essence of tyranny, a regime built not on legitimacy or fairness, but on coercion and fear. Pascal's brilliance lies in identifying the delicate, often precarious, balance required between these two elements. He understood the deeply human tendency to mistake might for right. Why do we so often conflate power with legitimacy? Partly, it's a matter of psychological comfort. Challenging established power structures, even when they are unjust, is inherently risky and destabilizing. There's a certain human inclination to accept the status quo, to rationalize the existing order, perhaps out of a desire for peace or simply a fear of the unknown. The powerful, in turn, are adept at framing their actions and their authority as inherently just, thereby legitimizing their control and suppressing dissent. Over time, what is powerful can come to be perceived as what is right, simply because it endures and appears unassailable. This insight from centuries ago continues to reverberate in our contemporary world. Think about current discussions surrounding law, power structures, and social justice. When we observe the challenges in enforcing international law against powerful nations, or the struggles of marginalized communities to achieve equitable treatment within existing legal frameworks, we are witnessing Pascal's aphorism in action. Social justice movements at their core are often an attempt to inject justice into structures of force that have become detached from it, or to give force to justice that has been powerless to enact change. They highlight instances where might has been mistaken for right and seek to re-establish a more principled equilibrium. Pascal's observations, therefore, extend far beyond theological contemplation. They offer a profoundly sociological and political lens through which to view the practical workings of society. He compels us to constantly scrutinize the relationship between what is just and what is powerful, reminding us that this relationship is rarely harmonious and always requires vigilance. His work underscores that true governance isn't just about wielding authority, but about ensuring that authority serves a higher purpose of justice, and that justice, in turn, has the capacity to be realized. This enduring tension, beautifully articulated by Pascal, remains one of philosophy's most urgent and practical problems. Welcome back to our exploration of Bertrand Russell's The Problems of Philosophy. In this part, titled The Illusion of Self, we delve into a fascinating and surprisingly modern perspective on personal identity, one that predates many contemporary discussions by centuries, the insights of Blaise Pascal. Pascal, often remembered for his wager, also offered profound reflections on the nature of being, particularly the self. He asked a question that strikes at the heart of how we understand ourselves and our relationships. What is it truly that you love about another person? Think about it for a moment. When you say you love someone, what exactly are you loving? Is it their physical appearance, their keen intellect, their charming personality, their sense of humor, their kindness, their specific memories shared with you? Now consider how these attributes change. Faces wrinkle, bodies age, minds evolve, personalities mature, sometimes diminish. Memories fade or gain new interpretations. If these qualities are mutable, can they truly be the fixed essence of the person you love? Pascal's radical assertion is that we don't fall in love with some unchanging core me or an eternal soul that remains constant despite the passage of time and experience. Instead, he suggests we fall in love with a collection, a dynamic bundle of these very transient properties. He argued that if someone died and then somehow came back with a completely different body, mind, and personality, we wouldn't recognize them as the same person, even if we were told they were. This highlights that our affection is tied to the asterisk qualities asterisk, not some invisible, independent substance. We cherish the wit, the warmth, the particular cadence of their voice, the way they think, the shared history, all attributes that are, by their very nature, impermanent and subject to change. It's a challenging thought, isn't it? To realize that the object of our deepest affections might be a moving target, a continually reconfigured mosaic of characteristics, rather than a singular, unalterable marble statue. This perspective, from centuries ago, finds remarkable resonance with modern psychological and philosophical ideas about the fluid nature of identity. Today, many theories suggest that our self isn't a fixed entity, but rather an ongoing narrative, a continuous construction built from our experiences, memories, relationships, and aspirations. Psychologists talk about the narrative self or the social self, emphasizing how our identity is shaped by our interactions and the stories we tell about ourselves. Philosophers like Derek Parfit, for example, have explored similar territory, questioning the deep intuitive belief in a continuous, unchanging personal identity over time, suggesting instead that what matters is psychological connectedness and continuity. Pascal, in his own way, anticipated these discussions. He observed that if you strip away all the qualities, the intelligence, the kindness, the specific memories, what is left? Is there still an I that remains? He implies that without these mutable properties, the self we cherish effectively vanishes, or at least becomes unrecognizable and unlovable in the way we typically understand it. The me we interact with, and the me we value, is inherently tied to these ever-shifting attributes. This adds a profound layer of existential depth to our understanding of relationships. If the self is indeed a fluid collection of qualities, then loving someone isn't just about admiring a static object, but about engaging with a dynamic, evolving being. It suggests that love itself must be adaptive, perhaps even a continuous act of rediscovering and re-engaging with the changing facets of another person. It implies a greater appreciation for the present moment, for the person they are now rather than clinging to an idealized version from the past. Pascal's insight compels us to reconsider the foundations of our attachments, prompting us to ask whether our love is resilient enough to embrace transformation, or if it is merely an attachment to a particular configuration of traits that might inevitably change. It's a reminder that identity, both our own and that of those we hold dear, is a living, breathing, and ever-unfolding story. In the next part, we'll continue our journey through Russell's work, exploring further how these philosophical problems challenge our everyday assumptions and enrich our understanding of reality. Welcome back to our journey through Bertrand Russell's The Problems of Philosophy. We've navigated the tricky waters of knowledge, reality, and ethics, often finding more questions than answers. Today, we turn our gaze to a profoundly human dilemma, one that even Russell, with all his logical prowess, couldn't entirely dismiss: the search for meaning in what often feels like an inherently meaningless existence. Our guide for this leg of the journey is not Russell directly, but a figure whose insights often stand in stark contrast to pure rationalism, yet offer a powerful perspective on the human condition: Blaise Pascal. Pascal, a brilliant mathematician and philosopher, found himself grappling with what he perceived as the fundamental mess of human life. He painted a vivid picture of our predicament: we are miserable, inherently prone to distraction, constantly seeking amusement to avoid confronting our own insignificance and mortality. We are, as he famously put it, caught between two infinities: the infinitely large universe above us and the infinitely small particles that compose us. This terrifying middle ground leaves us adrift, a thinking rid that knows its own fragility, yet yearns for something more. This is the core problem. How do we, creatures of such limited understanding and transient existence, find purpose in a universe that seems indifferent to our plight? For Pascal, the answer wasn't to escape this uncomfortable reality, to distract ourselves into oblivion, or to rationalize it away with cold logic. On the contrary, his solution was to embrace these very contradictions, to acknowledge our wretchedness and our grandeur simultaneously. True meaning, he argued, doesn't come from denying our miserable condition, but from fully confronting it, feeling the existential angst, and then making a profound leap of faith. This isn't a leap into the void of irrationality, but a conscious, deliberate turning towards something infinite, something beyond our finite grasp. It's an embrace of the mystery, a recognition that the logical framework alone cannot satisfy the deepest yearnings of the human heart. But let's be clear, for Pascal, this wasn't about blind belief or a sudden, unthinking surrender to dogma. Far from it. His own life was a testament to a lifelong, heartfelt search. He agonized over these questions, wrestling with doubt and faith, reason and emotion. His Pensées are not a finished theological treatise, but a collection of fragmented thoughts, reflections born from an intense personal struggle to understand God, humanity, and the universe. His famous wager is often misinterpreted as a cynical calculation, but for Pascal, it emerged from this deep, heartfelt quest, an attempt to rationalize the yearning for something transcendent. He understood that the intellect alone could not bridge the chasm between our finite lives and the infinite we intuit. It required a different kind of engagement, an openness of the heart. Pascal's work, then, isn't a final answer delivered from on high. Instead, it serves as a profound invitation. It's an invitation to stop running from our inherent contradictions, to cease our endless distractions, and instead to look unflinchingly at our condition. It's an invitation to acknowledge the limits of pure reason, to feel the pull of the infinite, and to embark on a personal journey of faith and introspection. He doesn't provide a tidy solution, neatly packaged and ready for consumption. Rather, he points to a path where meaning is not passively received, but actively discovered through a courageous engagement with the fundamental paradoxes of existence, by embracing the uncertainty and, crucially, by looking beyond ourselves towards a greater, ultimate reality. It's a challenge to seek, to question, and ultimately, to trust that there is something more, even when the evidence of our senses and logic seems to scream otherwise. We've journeyed through the intricate tapestry of Pascal's Pensées, exploring his profound insights into human nature, reason, faith, and the existential void. As we draw this main content to a close, it's vital to step back and ask, why does a collection of fragmented thoughts, penned nearly 4 centuries ago, resonate so powerfully in our hyper-connected, often overwhelming 21st century? Why is Pascal's legacy not merely historical, but intensely, urgently relevant today? Pascal's most startling prescience lies in his understanding of divertissement, diversion, or distraction. He argued that humanity constantly seeks to escape the contemplation of its own wretchedness, its mortality, its insignificance in the vast cosmos. He saw us, centuries before the advent of the internet, social media, or even electricity, endlessly inventing new ways to fill the silence, to numb the existential unease. Think of our current age: the incessant notifications, the infinite scroll, the binge-watching, the curated online personas, the constant demand for stimulation. Aren't these merely sophisticated, digital iterations of the hunt or the game that Pascal identified as our means of avoiding ourselves? He understood that the problem isn't the distraction itself, but what it prevents us from confronting our inner selves, our deepest questions, our very purpose. He didn't just observe this human tendency, he diagnosed its psychological root, an inherent aversion to stillness and self-reflection, born from our awareness of our precarious existence. His work serves as a chilling mirror, reflecting our own digital age back at us, revealing the ancient human impulse behind our modern technological habits. In an era often polarized between the unwavering certainty of pure scientism and the equally unyielding conviction of blind faith, Pascal offers a desperately needed middle ground, a bridge built on both rigorous intellect and profound spiritual sensitivity. He was, let us remember, a scientific genius, a mathematician, a physicist whose contributions to probability theory, fluid dynamics, and the invention of the mechanical calculator fundamentally shaped modern science. He had no disdain for reason or empirical evidence. Yet, he recognized the asterisk limits asterisk of reason, understanding that while science excels at describing the how of the universe, it remains silent on the why. It cannot provide ultimate meaning, moral guidance, or solace in the face of suffering. Conversely, he didn't advocate for an unthinking leap into dogma. His own faith was born of a personal, agonizing struggle, a rational contemplation of the evidence, coupled with a profound spiritual experience. He teaches us that while reason is indispensable, there are truths, particularly those concerning the human heart and spirit, that transcend its empirical boundaries. He champions an approach where faith is not a substitute for thought, but a deeper dimension of understanding, one that acknowledges both the grandeur of human reason and its inherent limitations when facing the infinite. He empowers us to hold intellectual curiosity and spiritual yearning in productive tension, refusing to sacrifice one for the other. For anyone navigating the turbulent waters of doubt, striving to reconcile reason with belief, or simply searching for a coherent sense of meaning in a fragmented world, Pascal's Pensées are an invaluable guide. His work isn't a finished philosophical system offering neat answers, but rather a profoundly honest exploration of the human condition in all its contradictions. He doesn't shy away from the anguish of uncertainty. Instead, he embraces it as a starting point. Pascal invites us not to blindly accept, but to engage in a deeply personal intellectual and spiritual journey. He validates the human experience of feeling lost, of questioning everything, of wrestling with paradox. His genius lies in demonstrating that doubt itself can be a powerful catalyst for deeper inquiry, a pathway to more authentic understanding. He helps us to frame our questions about existence, God, and our place in the cosmos, not as academic exercises, but as the most pressing concerns of our lives, urging us to confront them with both our intellect and our intuition. He assures us that even in our fragmented world, the search for meaning is not only worthwhile, but perhaps the most defining human endeavor. So, how do we translate this enduring wisdom, these centuries-old fragments of genius, into actionable insights for our lives today? How do we leverage Pascal's profound observations to better navigate our digital distractions, our existential anxieties, and our personal quests for meaning? In the upcoming sections, we will move beyond the theoretical and delve into the practical application of Pascal's Pensées, exploring how his thoughts can equip us with tangible tools and perspectives to live more intentionally, reflectively, and purposefully in our complex modern world. Welcome back. We've journeyed through the intricate landscape of Bertrand Russell's analysis of Pascal, delving into the intellectual currents that shaped their thought. But philosophy, at its best, isn't just about what we think. It's about how we live. Pascal himself was a man deeply concerned with human experience, not just abstract reasoning. So, in this final part, we're going to put Pascal's insights to the test in your own life with a practical 7-day action plan. This isn't about memorizing arguments, it's about moving from intellectual understanding to practical experience, exploring the Pascalian condition firsthand. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Days 1 and 2, the Quiet Room Challenge. Pascal famously observed that all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. For the next 2 days, I want you to dedicate 15 minutes each day to this very challenge. Find a quiet room, close the door, and remove all distractions. No phone, no books, no music, no to-do lists. Just you, your thoughts, and the silence. It might feel uncomfortable, even boring, and that's precisely the point. Afterwards, journal about the experience. What thoughts arose? What feelings did you notice? Did you feel an urge to reach for a distraction? And if so, what was that urge about? Pay attention to the discomfort, the fleeting ideas, and the raw presence of your own mind. This is your baseline for understanding Pascal's view on distraction. Days 3 and 4, the distraction audit. Building on the quiet room experience, for the next 2 days, your task is to become an active observer of your own distractions. Throughout your normal day, consciously notice and list asterisk every single time asterisk you reach for a distraction. This could be checking your phone for no reason, scrolling social media, opening another browser tab, grabbing a snack you don't really need, turning on the TV, or even diving into busy work when you should be tackling something more significant. The crucial second step is to ask yourself, what feeling or thought am I avoiding right now? Is it boredom, anxiety, uncertainty, a difficult decision, the desire to procrastinate a challenging task? Don't judge yourself. Simply observe and make a note. This audit helps reveal the escape routes your mind habitually takes to avoid confronting its own internal landscape, much as Pascal described. Days 5 and 6, the heart's reason. Pascal declared the heart has its reasons of which reason knows nothing. For these 2 days, we're going to explore that concept. Your task is to make one small decision each day, not based purely on logical pros and cons, but on intuition, a gut feeling, or what simply feels right in your heart. This isn't about major life choices, but small, low-stakes decisions. Perhaps it's choosing a route to work you wouldn't normally take, deciding what to eat for lunch without overthinking it, initiating a conversation with someone based on a subtle impulse, or picking an activity for the evening because it just feels good. The goal is to consciously step away from purely rational analysis and gently tune into your inner, less articulate sense of guidance. Reflect on how that felt, and if the outcome was any different from your usual logical approach. Day 7, the wager reflection. On this final day, we return to the heart of Pascal's wager, not as a theological proof, but as a pragmatic challenge to how you live your life. Sit down with your journal and reflect on something deeply meaningful you hope for or believe in, be it a personal purpose, a moral conviction, a vision for humanity, or a spiritual truth. Now consider the following. What would you practically gain by living your life as if this meaningful thing were true and achievable? Think about the internal shifts: increased joy, resilience, a clearer sense of purpose, stronger relationships, greater peace, more courageous action. And conversely, what would you practically lose by adopting this mindset? Perhaps a certain cynical detachment, the comfort of indecision, the perceived freedom of not committing, or the habit of always waiting for undeniable proof. This isn't about divine judgment, it's an exploration of the lived consequences of choosing to orient your life towards what you find most meaningful, even without absolute certainty. And there you have it, a 7-day Pascalian journey. This plan is designed not to give you definitive answers, but to open you up to the questions, the feelings, and the profound human experience that Pascal grappled with. Continue these practices, adapt them, and let them be a springboard for your ongoing philosophical exploration. Remember, the problems of philosophy are rarely solved by thought alone. Often, they require us to live our way into the answers. After 60 minutes exploring the intricate landscape of Bertrand Russell's The Problems of Philosophy, we've wrestled with the nature of knowledge, the existence of the external world, the mind-body problem, and the profound questions that underpin our understanding of reality. It's a journey designed not to provide easy answers, but to cultivate a habit of rigorous inquiry. Now, as we approach the conclusion of our discussion, let's distill this expansive philosophical voyage into 3 core, actionable takeaways, points you can easily recall, reflect upon, and perhaps even share with others. These aren't just summaries, they are invitations to a particular way of engaging with your own existence and the world around you. Our first vital takeaway is this: acknowledge your contradiction. Our exploration of Russell's work has forced us to confront the limits of human knowledge, the fallibility of our senses, and the vast chasm between appearance and reality. This journey reveals a fundamental tension within the human condition, our magnificent capacity for reason and abstract thought, yet simultaneously, our profound limitations, our susceptibility to error, and our existential struggle with doubt. You are, in essence, both a titan of intellect and a fragile speck in the cosmos. Embrace this paradox. This isn't a flaw nor a sign of intellectual failure. Instead, this very awareness, this honest appraisal of your dual nature, is the crucible from which true wisdom is forged. It is the beginning of intellectual humility and genuine philosophical inquiry. When you confront the grand ambitions of your intellect, alongside the inherent vulnerabilities of your perception, you begin to see the world and yourself with a clarity that superficial certainties can never offer. It's in this magnificent misery that the deepest questions take root and flourish, allowing you to navigate life with a humble yet powerful curiosity, always open to revision, always seeking deeper truth. Our second critical insight is to master your distractions. Russell's work implicitly challenges us to confront the superficialities that often cloud our perception of reality, pushing us beyond mere sense data to question what truly lies beneath. In modern life, we are constantly bombarded by distractions, endless information streams, entertainment, social media, and a relentless pursuit of instant gratification. These often serve as symptoms of a deeper unease, a subconscious avoidance of the profound questions about existence that philosophy forces us to confront. Why do we so eagerly escape into noise? This constant need for diversion can be a means of sidestepping uncomfortable truths, the uncertainty of objective knowledge, the limits of our understanding, the precariousness of our beliefs. By recognizing that your constant yearning for diversion might be a manifestation of an underlying philosophical discomfort, you gain immense power. This isn't about eliminating all enjoyment. It's about cultivating an awareness, a conscious choice to sometimes turn away from the noise and face the quietude of your own mind. It's about making space for genuine thought, for critical examination, allowing you to truly grapple with the philosophical questions that define our humanity. When you master your distractions, you reclaim your mental space, empowering yourself to embark on your own journey of inquiry rather than being constantly pulled by external forces. You become the philosopher of your own life, Finally, our third powerful takeaway: live the wager. Russell's rigorous inquiry often reveals that much we believe lacks definitive proof. Yet, this absence of absolute certainty isn't a dead end. It opens a profound freedom. When objective knowledge is provisional, the most rational and courageous choice is a conscious wager, not a blind leap of faith, but a pragmatic, deeply human decision to bet on a life infused with meaning, purpose, and hope. This means acting as if your actions matter, as if there is value in striving for goodness, even when ultimate proofs remain elusive. This transforms philosophical doubt from a paralyzing force into an empowering one, inviting you to build a fulfilling life upon chosen values. It's about finding agency and resolve in the face of the unknown, embracing responsibility to create your own meaning amidst the problems of philosophy. These 3 points, acknowledging your contradiction, mastering your distractions, and living the wager, offer a powerful framework for engaging with Russell's profound challenges. Carry these insights forward, live philosophically, and may your journey of inquiry continue to enlighten and empower you. We have journeyed through the problems of philosophy, wrestling with Bertrand Russell's incisive mind as he dissected the very foundations of our knowledge, reality, and existence. From the nature of appearance versus reality, through the intricate web of universal and particular, to the profound implications of intuition and scientific knowledge, Russell challenged us to question everything, to embrace uncertainty, and to find intellectual courage in the pursuit of truth. His work reminds us that philosophy is not a static body of doctrine, but a vibrant, ongoing inquiry, a process of thinking, not just a set of answers. It demands active participation, not passive reception. Now, as we bring this particular exploration to a close, I invite you to bring the spirit of Russell's inquiry into your own daily life. We've often discussed how distractions can cloud our ability to engage deeply with complex ideas, to truly think. So, let's take a moment for a practical philosophical application. Based on your distraction audit, that reflective exercise we engaged in earlier, what is the one diversion you want to reduce this week? Perhaps it's endless scrolling, or that constant urge to check notifications, or simply allowing external noise to dictate your internal focus. Whatever it is, identify it. Then, share it in the comments below. Let's create a community committed not just to understanding philosophy, but to living it by actively cultivating the mental space required for genuine thought. Your insights and your commitment inspire us all. If this deep dive into the mind of a classic philosopher resonated with you, if it sparked new questions or illuminated old ones, please consider liking this video. Your likes are a powerful signal to the YouTube algorithm, helping us reach more curious minds and foster a growing community dedicated to timeless wisdom and intellectual growth. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more journeys into the profound questions that have shaped human thought. By subscribing, you ensure you won't miss our upcoming explorations, and you actively support the creation of thoughtful, in-depth content like this. We have many more philosophical landscapes to explore, more challenging texts to unravel, and more conversations to ignite. For those eager to continue their philosophical journey beyond Russell, I highly recommend exploring David Hume's An Inquiry Concerning Human Understanding to delve deeper into skepticism and empiricism, or perhaps moving on to Russell's later, more ambitious work, Principia Mathematica, if you're inclined towards the logic and foundations of mathematics. Alternatively, our next video could tackle the ethical dilemmas posed by consequentialism versus deontology, inviting you to weigh the moral implications of our actions and intentions. Let me know in the comments if that's a topic you'd like us to explore next. The pursuit of wisdom is an endless road, and every step taken is a step towards greater understanding. Remember, the true value of philosophy lies not just in understanding what others have thought, but in sharpening your own capacity for independent thought and critical analysis. It's about cultivating a reflective stance towards life itself, allowing you to navigate its complexities with greater clarity and purpose. May your journey of inquiry continue to be rich and rewarding. As we depart from the logical rigor of Russell, let us pause with a thought from Blaise Pascal, a reminder that understanding human experience often transcends pure reason. It is the heart which perceives God and not the reason. That is what faith is, God perceived by the heart, not by the reason.